So this is what it looks like. Um, you would need to put in the mean and standard deviation if it's given. If it's not given, then you can just default to 0 and 1 if that's not given. Now, the above, below, between, outside of kind of things, that's going to depend on the problem. So, for instance, let me just grab one off of the practice test. Let's see, this is number 28 on the practice test. It asks for the area under the standard normal distribution curve between z equals 0 and z equals 1.95. All right, so that means I'm going to go to this table and it says between z equals 0, and I have already forgotten that number, 1.95. Okay, so 1.95 will come down here. I just clicked in this box and boom, there it is. There's my area, which is probability as well. The area under the curve is the same as the probability. That is also, that number is never going to be bigger than 1. Okay. If you want to change that to a percent, you would need to move that decimal over 2 places. So if Alex asks for a percent, you would need to say, okay, 47.44. Otherwise, you can just leave it as 0.4744. So yeah, this eliminates the need for looking at that chart and having to compare the z values and find the corresponding area and then do the addition or the subtraction or the 0.5 business. So yeah, you see where this is going? This is looking pretty sweet, isn't it? Let's see. So like number 29 on the practice test. Now your numbers are probably going to be different than mine, but just want to kind of get the gist for you. It says to the right of z equals 1.05. All right. So I'm going to come over here. Now to the right is above. So, and that was a z value of 1.05. So I'll put that in and then click in this little box to just recalculate it, or I could click on recalculate. And there's my area, 0.1469. You also get a nice little image right here of where that is. You can see that's to the right of that z value of 1.05. See, it's just a skosh past 1 right there. And we get that area right there. So you can make sure that you have the right region. So if something says to the right of, that's going to be above. To the left of is going to be below. Okay. And then obviously between. I don't think there's a whole lot in Alex where you have to do outside of. So I don't think you're even going to have to worry about using this one. Now, if it's one of those word problems where you're given a mean and a standard deviation, you know, like one of those where you're given, let's see, which one was it? Maybe number 32. Yeah, so you're given that the life of some tires is 29,000 miles, standard deviation of 2,000. So with that one, you would put in the given mean and standard deviation, and then, you know, click on whichever one you want. You know, if it's asking you for the above or to the right of, the below or to the left of, or the between. Now, you can actually put in the exact numbers or the z values. If you're going to use the 0 and 1 here, you can just use the z values. But like on that one, that's a word problem where it says, hey, how many tires are expected to be between, you know, 30,000 and 38,000 miles. You can actually put those numbers in there. You don't have to find the z values for that. So, all right. Well, I hope that that is helpful. Now, remember, this number right here is a decimal. If you want to change it to a percent, you move the decimal over 2 places. You get 14.69% in this case. If there is a total given and it asks for how many, okay, like how many of, you know, says there was 1,000, then you have to take that percent times that total. So there are like, I think there's like 1 or 2 in the practice test where you have to find that percent of the total. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these. So if it asks for the probability, you can just leave it as a decimal or as a percent, you know, depending on which one Alex is asking you for. Or if it's something of a total, then you're going to need to multiply that decimal times that total. So. All right. I think that about does it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me and I can do, see what I can do to help. But feel free to use this website during your tests and your final as well. So, all right.